Hey, it's Couch Potato. I'm back making another video here, and with all the Xbox 360 hype, and who knows what else is going to get hyped up soon, maybe the regular Wii or maybe PS3. I think that generation of consoles is about to gain some steam because a lot of kids that used to play it back then are now like getting legit jobs or making legit money, and now they're going back trying to relive their nostalgia, and I think that's a big part of it too. But this isn't a video about that. It's about video game collecting, and I wanted to make a video about collecting as a whole and top 5 tips that I have for collecting and things I've learned throughout my journey of collecting. I have about 1,000 games right now. Total overall, I'm sure I've collected a few thousand games, but I've sold off a bunch of stuff like my PSP collection, my Vita collection, my Sega Genesis collection. So all in all, thousands of games that I've bought. So I wanted to make a video about collecting, and these are the top 5 tips that I have if you're a new collector, or if you're getting back into collecting, or if you just want to, brush up on your collecting skills. And for anyone starting off, my first tip is, stay till the end because I have a bonus tip at the end too. But the first tip I have is collect what you love and collect what you are nostalgic about. And what I mean by that is collect games that you grew up playing, games that you had really fond experiences with, whether it was playing a game by yourself and you just had an amazing experience, or playing games with friends. Those type of games are games that you should start off collecting. And also games in the current time that if you love the game, if it's one of those games, I know I'm not the only one that has experienced this, but you ever play a game and you go at the end of the game, it's over, and you just sit there in like kind of silence and you're like, dang, that was a good game, and I'm sad that this is over. And then maybe a couple months or a year or so passes by and you go back and you play that game again because you loved it so much and you want to re-experience that experience, which is the same thing with nostalgia. So collect those type of games. All the games that you love, absolutely love, or games that you plan to go back and play again, collect those games. And games from your childhood, collect those too, because nostalgia is a big thing, and you'll want to go back and play the games that you played as a kid. Trust me. If you're into collecting, it's going to happen. It happens to everybody. And I think that's a lot of reason why people collect in the first place, is so they can go back and relive the games that they played. And then, of course, you can collect games that you missed out on. But I would definitely start with games that you love, games that you want to replay, and you can replay multiple times, and games from your childhood. So that's tip 1. Tip 2 is find focus. And what I mean by that is when people start collecting, and myself included, when I started collecting, I wanted to collect everything. I wanted everything. I wanted every console, every game, everything. So I went out and bought a whole bunch of stuff, and I had no focus, and I was just getting this, that, and the other thing. And what I found out is you shut yourself thin. And then there's too much stuff. So it's best to get focused and maybe pick a console or two and focus on that console and get all the games that you want for that console or those 2 consoles, and start there with collecting. And then if you get to a point where you don't have anything else to collect for that console, or anything you don't want to collect for that console, then move on and focus on a different console. But to start off, I would focus on 1 or 2 consoles. Buy the games that you want for those consoles, the good games, the games that you want to play, the games that you enjoy. And then also collect games that are in a genre that you enjoy the most. So if you're into survival horror, which is like me, I love survival horror. It's my favorite genre. If I would set out collecting again, I would just go after survival horror games. And that doesn't have to be console specific, but I would just go out and buy all the survival horror games that I can. So my tip for that is, for focus, don't be like me when I started. Don't go out there and just collect everything under the sun, and you're like a little squirrel just like picking up whatever. Have a focus, maybe write it down or write a note in your phone. Just make a list of games that you want for a certain console. Say you grew up playing PlayStation 2 and you want to collect PlayStation 2. Sit down and put PS2 and list out the games that you want for that console. And that way you're focused on a specific thing instead of scattering around. So that would be my tip number 2. Tip number 3, and this is going to sound kind of funny and sound kind of crazy and probably like, what is he talking about? But my tip number 3 is tell your family, friends, and coworkers. Tell everybody you know that you're a video game collector. And I'm not saying be creepy and go and be like, hey, I'm a game collector. Hey, whatever. No, but like bring it up in conversation sometime. Be like, yeah, I collect video games. I collect for whatever system, whatever type of game. You would be surprised the amount of feedback you can get and maybe some deals that you can get, or maybe even just some hookups that you can get by telling people that you're a game collector, whether it's friends, family, coworkers. Myself, I let people know I'm a video game collector, and I've had people that are like, yeah, I have a big box of games that are in the attic or whatever. Do you want to take a look at them? Or I had a coworker come up and say, there's another guy that works here and he has these games. He's trying to get rid of them or whatever. He doesn't want them anymore. Would you like to check them out? And I can be like, yeah, sure. Or like, no, not right now or whatever. But the key is to just let people know. If they don't know, then you don't have the opportunity. But if they know you have the opportunity, that maybe something could happen. You know, if people know you collect, it'll be on their mind when they clean out their grandma's attic, or they go to their parents' house for holiday and then they come back and they'll be like, oh yeah, I had this box of games or whatever sitting in the attic. Maybe Jeremiah will want them, or whatever your name is. But they'll think about, that type of thing, as long as you let it be known. So my tip is to let your friends, family, coworkers, let people know that you are a collector, and you'd be surprised. All right, tip number 4. Tip number 4 is join Facebook groups or other type of communities that are centric around video games and video game collecting. I only know Facebook because that's the only thing I really use social media wise. So on Facebook, there's Facebook groups for pretty much anything under the sun as far as groups about gaming, game collecting. So I'm in like Xbox 360 game collector group. I'm in video game buy, sell, trade groups and that kind of thing. While you might not get like an amazing deal, you might be able to score things for a little less than market value. And also, that they're coming from another collector, and that you can verify the condition. You can talk with these people on the Facebook groups. You can make friends with people on these Facebook groups. I've done that as well. And then you'll have another set of eyes and ears out there. And if they find something that they know you're looking for, they can come back and, be like, hey, you were looking for this, I found this, or whatever. And or you could do trades. You could do trades with people. But if you do that kind of thing, just make sure the person there is reputable. If you have to ask for, verification from the group, please do that. Don't get hosed by scammers or whatever. But video game groups, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you use, it's definitely advantageous to be in those because you can make connections. You can get things slightly less than market value, even though you're not going to get like a crazy deal, like I said. But it's definitely helped me a lot in my journey. And then in the video game buy, sell, trade groups, if you have games and you want to get rid of them or you want to sell them or whatever, you can throw them up there. And instead of dealing with eBay and all that stuff, you can sell it to a fellow collector that needs the game or wants the game. It's just been a great experience. And another thing I want to add about Facebook groups and other groups, video game communities, is you can learn a lot of information. You can learn a lot about games. You can learn a lot about your consoles, your video game variants, region locks, region stuff. So I learned a lot of information from Facebook groups and stuff like that about the type of games. So I learn a lot about, what games can play on the 360 in America that are in Europe or Japan or whatever. And then I also learn about different variants, learn about, you know, different things that have happened through the life of the 360. So on top of the collecting aspect, you can learn a lot of information too. And the information can definitely help you in the long run as well. Because if you find out that there's a special variant and you just happen to have a game that you had picked up and it's a special variant, and a game that you thought was like $20, $30 could now be like $100 just because it's a variant. Definitely a good place to start is get on these Facebook groups or whatever app you use for community stuff and find communities that deal with video games, video game collecting, stuff like that. Tip number 5. Tip number 5 is do not set collect. Now, if you want to be crazy like I was trying to do with the 360 and you want to set collect, you know, more power to you. But for the majority of people, do not set collect. It's pointless. So you'll get a full set and you'll say, oh, look at my full set. Wow, okay. And it is kind of cool if you have the full set. It's cool. I'm not trying to down anyone that has full sets, but full set collecting, you're going to have a lot of shovelware. You're going to have a lot of junk games. You're going to have a lot of sports games. You're going to have a lot of games that you don't care about. And you're going to be spending money on these games, whether you like it or not, because, you know, nothing's really free anymore. So collecting sets is kind of, I feel like it should be a thing of the past. You know, if it's something you really want to do, go ahead, do it. But personally, my opinion, set collecting is dumb. And I was trying to go for a full set of the 360. I really was. And I got to about half the library and I was like, you know what? I don't want to buy all these sports games. I don't want to buy all these like kid games. I don't want to buy these, SingStar and whatever else there is. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy what I want to play, what I love, and that's how I'm going to do it from now on. So I am no longer going for a set of 360 because I just don't want that shovelware. I don't want that stuff clogging up space on my shelf or in my spare room or anything like that. Set collecting, I highly recommend against it. Start with what you love, which was the first tip. You won't go wrong, believe me. Set collecting, it takes a special kind of person for that. All right, and the bonus tip. Thank you for sticking around, by the way. Subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff, comment. The bonus tip that I have is catalog your games. I cannot tell you how many times, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'll admit it. I have double bought games that I already had because I didn't have them cataloged or I didn't look at my catalog. So I highly recommend cataloging your games. There are apps on the phone that you can use. I use GameEye myself. So GameEye, it's basically free. I mean, I haven't paid money for it, but it's an app where you can catalog all your games. I don't follow it for pricing and whatnot, but I use it to store my games. Catalog your games. I think there's another one. It's like Video Game Collectors with a Z. But there are apps out there, and cataloging your games will save you money in the long run because you will not double buy. If you look at your catalog when you're out and about, it's right on your phone. You have your phone on you. Then just look at it. Be like, oh, I don't remember if I had this game. And then you look it up. You're like, oh, yeah, I have this game. And I can't tell you how many times that saved me when I'm out and about. If I'm at like a used bookstore or I'm at whatever, flea market, whatever it is. I look at my phone before I buy a game and I'm like, do I have this game? Yep, I have this game. And I can't tell you how many times, countless times, it saved me from double purchasing a game. Now, I have ran into issues where I bought a game thinking, oh, I don't have that game, and I ended up having it, and so I had doubles. And I'm not going to lie, because I have done that. But for the majority of the time, I've saved so much headache and heartache and money by cataloging my games and just saying, yeah, I'm going to make sure I have everything. And right now I'm getting into like Blu-ray collecting because I don't like all these different streaming services. So I'm trying to get all the physical movies that I love and stuff like that. And I'm starting to catalog those too because I don't want to double purchase games. And I have already done so, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. So cataloging is essential, I think. I think it's probably one of the biggest tips as far as saving money is concerned, because if you're double buying, you're just wasting money. If you spent $8, $10 on this game you thought you didn't have, but you have the game, there's $8, $10 that you could have used towards a different game. That's my bonus tip. Hope you all enjoyed this. If you have any other tips, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what your tips are, and have a good one.